Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Ryan Sage, Assistant City Attorney with the City of Sioux Falls. Today we're here as part of the Compassionate Sioux Falls Initiative. The Compassionate Sioux Falls Initiative is designed to move from tolerance to acceptance. Today with us we have our good friend Amy Carter from the Children's Inn. Amy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the Children's Inn and what your mission is at the Children's Inn?
Sure. Well, Children's Inn, we are an emergency shelter for victims of domestic violence and victims of child abuse and neglect. So we have women and men who are fleeing abusive partners, whether that's a boyfriend, a husband, a girlfriend, where there's stalking, domestic violence, or sexual assault involved, and they need a safe place to stay. Or we also can provide 24-hour crisis intervention services to victims of abuse.
How prevalent is domestic violence in our community?
Well, nationally, the statistic is that 1 in 4 women will be a victim of domestic violence at some time in her lifetime. And certainly we see a lot of that in our community, and I would say that it's probably very proportionate to what we see. And as our city grows, unfortunately, so does that domestic violence and the violence in the home in general.
What are some red flags or warning signs that somebody could look for with regards to whether or not they see someone that's in an abusive relationship?
Sure. I think that, when there's a relationship where there's a lot of control, where one person has control over that other person, and that can look a lot of different ways. Certainly physical violence is one form of control. In abusive relationships, we often see isolation, where that perpetrator or the abuser has isolated that victim from friends and family and others. There's financial control. They have a lot of emotional control and manipulation involved in that relationship. There might be situations where they aren't allowed to see the children, or there's threats that they will take the children away. So those are all just a variety of things that someone might be experiencing if they're in an abusive relationship. And sometimes that's easy to see from the outside, especially if there's physical bruises or things like that. But a lot of that emotional and psychological abuse happens behind closed doors, and others don't even often realize it's going on in a home.
If I were to maybe suspect that someone may be in an abusive relationship, how can I help, or what can I do to help that person?
Well, I would say if there's any suspicion or concern for that, it's certainly just talking with that person and doing that in a gentle, non-confrontational or non-judgmental way. Saying that if they are being abused, it's not their fault and that they don't deserve that. So often victims of abuse have been told over and over that they deserve this, it's their fault, they did something to make them abuse that person. And so for someone from the outside to come in and say, that's not right, you don't deserve this, that can go a long way with somebody. And so I think that's the first step, and then just continuing to be there for that person, certainly offering them resources in the community, such as Children's Inn or other resources that are available to provide assistance not only in emergency situations, but really long-term through counseling and support groups. How
does somebody get into contact with the Children's Inn?
Well, we can be reached a variety of ways. Usually people tend to call first, and our phone number is 338-0116, and you can reach us 24 hours a day. But we also often have people just showing up at the door, seeking assistance, whether that's help with resources or help filling out a protection order, or maybe just to talk through their situation and determine if Children's Inn would be an option or a service that they could utilize.
What resources do you offer on your website?
On our website, again, you can connect with through email if you wanted to send an email. You can reach our phone number, of course. All of our services are listed, support group times for both children and adults, our parenting classes, counseling services that we offer. Everything is listed on the website as well.
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. What's going on in our community with regards to domestic violence to raise awareness to the issue?
Well, certainly we know domestic violence happens every day, unfortunately, in our community, but we take the month of October to really do more awareness and education for the community as a whole. So we have what are called silent witnesses, which are red full-size figurines that we put throughout the community with a story of someone who lost their life to domestic violence. And we put those out in an effort to let people know that this is real, this does happen in Sioux Falls, this does happen in South Dakota, and how can we better be aware of that and support those who have survived domestic violence or those families that have gone through that. So that's one thing that's going on during the month of October. We also put purple ribbons on all the law enforcement vehicles, and we hope that they will stay on through the month of October and longer, of course, but they say end domestic violence, and it's just a way to show our support and collaboration that domestic violence service providers have with law enforcement, and that they are, while we service the victims, they are going to hold those perpetrators accountable for the violence that is happening. And then our big event is called Take Back the Night, and that is held October 13th. And that is a dinner and a program and a candlelight walk to, again, raise awareness about domestic violence and honor those victims and survivors of domestic violence.
Amy, the name is Children's Inn, and so what services do you provide for the children?
Well, Children's Inn, the reason our name is what it is because we did start as just a home for children who had been abused or neglected, and then we quickly expanded into a mission to be a domestic violence shelter. That was some 39 years ago. But so not only do we serve children who are being removed from the home and with us without a parent, we are also providing services and counseling and support groups for those kids who are there with mom who is fleeing that abusive partner. So really we're just a loving, safe home for not only children but also women who are fleeing those abusive situations.
If someone is looking to help the Children's Inn, what could you use for help from our community?
Sure. Well, I talked a little bit about prevalence, but we served over 1,000 women and children in our shelter alone last year. So, and it's really a big house. So anything you need at your home, we need at ours. Anywhere from shampoo and diapers and cereal and toilet paper, all those things are certainly donations that we will readily accept at any time. And then we also have volunteers that come in and assist us, whether they come in to hang out with the kids and play, help serve dinner, maybe sort through the different donations that we receive. All of those different things are opportunities for people to give back to Children's Inn, and we welcome anyone calling or for more information about that.
Well, Amy, thank you very much for the service you provide to our community and the work that you do on a daily basis.
Thank you.
Again, I'm Ryan Sage with Compassionate Sioux Falls, and our monthly spotlight is the Children's Inn to show the need in the service that is provided on a daily basis in our community. If you'd like more information on Compassionate Sioux Falls, you can find us online at siouxfalls.org/compassion or at #CompassionateSiouxFalls or by phone 367-8745.